Assalamualaikum and hello to everyone that is watching this presentation. My name is Siti Nur Adila and my supervisor is Associate Professor Dr. Ho Wei Seng. I will be presenting the report of my title, Effects of Different Fertilizers Towards Fittonia or Nerve Plant Growth. For the introduction, first, let's start with the research background. Fittonia is an evergreen perennial herbaceous plant. The plant is popularly cultivated as an ornamental plant due to its attractive foliage that bears net patterns and has many cultivars that bear beautiful variegations and wavy leaf margins. People love to arrange Fittonia with other ornamental plants to decorate their offices and housings. In Eastern Ecuador, the plant can be used to treat headaches or muscle pain. Currently, there are limited scientific research on suitable fertilizers for Fittonia. Most of the research that can be found are on rapid propagation and tissue culture of the plant. One of the most recent study on Fittonia is by Belokurova et al. In 2019. In their study, they described the effective system of microchronal propagation of Fittonia albivenis on hormone-free media. The objective of our study is to investigate the effects of NPK 1616 plus trace elements, Novatec 15320 plus 2 magnesium oxide and trace elements, and organic matter towards the growth of Fittonia sp. Next, we will go through literature review. First, I will explain about Fittonia. The genus Fittonia sp belongs to the Acanthus family Acanthaceae. Some synonyms for Fittonia albivenis are Fittonia argyronera and Fittonia verschaffelti. Some of the common names for Fittonia are mosaic plant and nerve plant. Fittonia is native in rainforests of Southern American countries which are Venezuela, Brazil, Bolivia, Colombia, Ecuador, and Peru. As it primarily lives as a ground cover in the rainforest, it prefers shady areas that have indirect sunlight. One of the main characteristics of Fittonia is the whole plant is evergreen and fuzzy and can grow up to 30 cm tall. The color of the plant is deep olive green with white to pink vines depending on the varieties. The plant also bears insignificant flowers which are yellowish white to reddish in color. There are two groups of Fittonia which are Argyronera and verschaffelti. The varieties for Argyronera group bear medium green leaves with white vines. Meanwhile for verschaffelti group, the varieties bear dark green leaves with pink vines. These characteristics can be seen in the figures. Next is fertilizer. Fertilizer can be defined as any substance that is able to supply nutrients for plants. It can also mean an agricultural product that usually contains nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and other trace minerals. The main components of fertilizers are nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Fertilizers usually contain these three materials the most. Some fertilizers also include a smaller amount of minerals such as magnesium and trace amounts of micronutrients such as iron. These components are labeled on the packaging as a 3-part number separated with dashes as shown in the figure here. There are two types of fertilizers which are mineral and organic. Mineral fertilizer is a fertilizer that is artificially manufactured by the chemical fertilizer company. Meanwhile, organic fertilizer is made from natural resources, usually animal manure. The effects of fertilizers on plant depend on the component of the fertilizer. For nitrogen, it is required to synthesize structural components of the plant, which helps to promote vegetative growth. For phosphorus, it is involved in energy transfer in the plant, and it promotes flowering and stimulates root formation. For potassium, it promotes fruiting as it is required in the metabolism of carbohydrate and translocation of organic acids in plants. Next is the methodology. In this experiment, the first step was to prepare the Fittonia seedlings. Two varieties were obtained from a plant nursery in Cushing, which were angel snow and red vine. The seedlings were organized into 4 different treatments, with each treatment having 5 replicates. The treatments were controlled without fertilizer application, NPK 161616 plus trace elements, Novatec 15320 plus 2 magnesium oxide and trace elements, and organic matter. A total of 20 polybags for each variety were filled with polythene bags and 1 seedling was placed in each polybag. Each polybag was labeled according to their treatments and replicates. The seedlings were kept at a place with bright and indirect sunlight and watered daily. Next step is fertilizer treatment. Every 2 weeks, each seedling was treated with fertilizers according to the treatment. The amount of fertilizer used was half a metric teaspoon for each seedling. After that is data collection. Photos of the seedlings were taken to observe the physical changes throughout the experiment. The height and the number of leaves of the seedlings was recorded every week from 27th April until 1st June of 2021. Lastly is data analysis. The collected data was analyzed using one-way ANOVA approach to test the significance of the effects of types of fertilizers towards the growth of Fittonia. Next, we will go through the results of this experiment. First is the height of Fittonia angel snow seedlings for every week. As we can see in the graph, all treatments showed a similar growth pattern where the height increased slightly after the first fertilizer application on 27th April. However, seedlings treated with NPK, Novatec, and organic matter had decreased in height, while the control increased after the second fertilizer application on 11th May. After the third fertilizer application on 25th May, the height of the seedlings treated with NPK and organic matter increased while the ones treated with Novatec decreased slightly. The collected data was analyzed with statistical tests, and the data collected on 4th and 11th May showed significant difference. On 4th May, pairwise comparison can be made between NPK, Novatec, and control, and between organic matter, Novatec, and control. On 11th May, pairwise comparison can be made between NPK, Novatec, and control. Next is the height of Fittonia red vine variety seedlings. As shown in the graph, all treatments showed a similar growth pattern where the height increased steadily throughout the weeks. Among all treatments, the seedlings treated with Novatec had the highest height increase. The collected data was analyzed with statistical tests, and no significant difference can be found in every week. Next is the number of leaves of Fittonia angel snow seedlings. Based on the graph, all treatments showed a similar growth pattern where the leaf number of all seedlings increased slightly after the first fertilizer application on 27th April. However, the number of leaves of seedlings treated with Novatec and organic matter had decreased after the second fertilizer application on 11th May, while the ones treated with NPK increased and the control remained unchanged. After the third fertilizer application on 25th May, all seedlings had increased in leaf number, while the ones treated with organic matter had a tremendous increment compared to others. The collected data underwent statistical tests, and no significant difference can be found on every week. Moving on with the number of leaves of Fittonia red vine seedlings. From the graph, we can see that the seedlings treated with organic matter had increased in leaf number throughout the weeks. For seedlings treated with Novatec, the leaf number remained the same after the first fertilizer application on 27th April, then increased on the day of the second fertilizer application on 11th May and the next week. For seedlings treated with NPK, the seedlings had decreased in leaf number after the first fertilizer application on 27th April, but increased in the following weeks. For the control, the leaf number increased from 27th April until 11th May and stayed the same on 18th May. All seedlings increased in leaf number after the third fertilizer application on 25th May. Statistical test was done on the collected data, and significant difference can be found on 18th May. Pairwise comparison can be made between NPK and organic matter. Here are the photos to show the physical changes of Fittonia angel snow seedlings throughout the experiment. We can observe that some seedlings had taken damage after weeks of fertilizer treatment. A notable growth can be seen especially in replicate 2 of Novatec treatment, where not only the leaf number had increased, but also the size of the leaves. The color and the net pattern of the leaves had also increased in intensity. Here are the photos to show the physical changes of Fittonia red vine seedlings throughout the experiment. It can be observed that all seedlings had positive growth throughout the weeks except for replicate 1 of NPK treatment. The seedlings was damaged, and on 1st June it showed no growth. Next is discussion. Based on the results, it can be seen that the growth of Fittonia for both varieties were focused on size and the number of leaves instead of height. This is highly likely because Fittonia is an herbaceous plant where the yield is focused on leaf quality. There was also a notable difference in growth rate between both varieties in terms of height and leaf size. Red vine seedlings can be seen to increase in height and leaf size more than angel snow seedlings. This difference is because angel snow is a miniature variety while red vine is a part of the larger variety. The outcomes of this experiment are similar with a research done by Papastiliano et al. In 2018. They studied the effects of nitrogen fertilization on the growth and yield of industrial hemp. In their study, the growth of industrial hemp improved further when fertilizer with higher content of nitrogen was applied. As industrial hemp is also a plant which yield is focused in leaf quality, it is proven that fertilizers with higher nitrogen content can further improve the growth of Fittonia. Lastly, from the experiment, Fittonia seedlings from both varieties that were treated with organic matter had the slowest growth rate amongst other fertilizer treatment with the exception of control. This finding is supported by the study made by Elmas et al. In 2017. They studied the difference between effects of pure poultry manure, pure NPK fertilizer, and a mixture of both towards maize plants. In their study, they found that maize plants treated with pure poultry manure gave yes yield compared to those treated with pure NPK fertilizer and a mixture of both NPK and pure poultry manure. The reason was mainly because inorganic fertilizers release nutrients rapidly, where plants can immediately utilize the nutrients. There were several limitations that were faced during this experiment. First is inefficient and imprecise equipment and analytical methods due to the experiment being done at home. This caused some errors due to inaccuracy. For example, metric teaspoon was used instead of an analytical balance to measure the amount of fertilizer. Metric teaspoon was chosen as the weighing balance at home is not sensitive enough to weigh a few pellets of fertilizer. Another complication is the experiment was conducted during monsoon transition season. The seedlings might have been overwatered due to the sudden heavy rain throughout the experiment, which damaged some of the seedlings. This may lead to interference of data collection as the objective was to observe the effects of fertilizer application towards Fittonia seedlings. In conclusion, it was proven that fertilizer application had further improved Fittonia growth. Through this study, an idea on suitable NPK ratio for Fittonia was obtained where higher nitrogen content is better to focus on the leaf quality of Fittonia. To understand this better, future studies can address the effects of different nitrogen concentrations towards the growth of Fittonia. I would like to thank everyone that has been supporting me to write this project, especially to my supervisor that has been guiding me to successfully conduct this project. These are the references used in this presentation. That is all from me. Thank you for watching.